So what do you say we spend a little time in the garden today? All right. I tell you what, I was on a fast-paced spring planting schedule there for a couple weeks. Seemed like I was planting something new every few days, and that has kind of came to a screeching halt. I've got a bunch of beautiful transplants here: flowers, herbs, pumpkins, winter squash that need to go in the ground. But we're supposed to get a rogue cold spell here in the next few days. Today is Tuesday. I think it's coming in Thursday or Friday, where it's going to get down to 36. That's what my weather app is saying now. Initially it was saying 39. Now it's dropped down to 36, which is making me a little bit nervous. So I definitely don't want to direct seed anything right now. I don't want to direct seed any warm seeds and crops, because that germination will be delayed or even inhibited with that cold of soil temps. And I'm a little leery about putting some of these transplants in the ground with it getting that cold. So the planting has came to a halt, but I figured it was a good time to walk you around and show you what's going on in all these 10 plots, what has sprouted, what's came up, how certain things are growing. And then I also want to tell you about my experimental no-till plot, show you our plans for that, as we'll be getting ready to transplant some pumpkins and winter squash in that plot. So let's start right here in this big plot, where it's not completely full yet by any means, but we do have some stuff growing in here. Some late plantings of cool weather stuff. So we've got our Chinese cabbage here, and it's growing pretty fast. I've been able to kind of halt the bug damage on this. Been spraying this with some of our takedown garden spray at least once a week, and that's looking pretty good, growing pretty fast. Still a little bit of bug damage, but I've kind of been able to stop the bleeding there, so to say. We've got more cabbage on the end there. 2 varieties of cabbage in this row, Superstar. And I've really been impressed with this Caribbean Queen, the tropical style cabbage right here. It seems to be growing faster than any of them. Really happy with how that's looking there. And then we've got our broccoli over here, cauliflower here that's kicking along, and some kohlrabi down at the end there. So we've been feeding this with the drip system about once every couple weeks, and they're growing fast. And got a few little runts in here that just didn't make it. You see one right there. Well, that's going to happen when you put in, you know, a significant amount of transplants. But just a couple runts out of them whole 4 rows, I'm not really worried about. Happy with how these guys are growing. Here we don't have anything, just some weeds and some holes where the kids have been digging. I need to get in here with a wheel hoe and clean this up a little bit. This is where our field peas are going to go as soon as this last cold spell is out of here. And over here, where we need to do some weeding as well, our squash has came up. You can see it right there. Some of these plants look different than the others because there's 4 different varieties in here. But you can see these guys here getting pretty big. I need to go ahead and thin those babies out there at about 1 every 2 feet or so. Squash are looking good. Got good germination on those. Cucumbers are up. See those guys right there. Didn't get quite as good germination on the cucumbers. Don't know if the soil was too cool, but I think I got good enough germination not to have to replant. So we'll soon be cleaning this up right here a little bit and getting our trellis netting ran, so these guys will have something to climb on. And then this plot right here is where we planted our Yellowstone sweet corn in that last video. And I did go ahead and take my overhead sprinkler and suck it down good. Even though we've got drip tape ran here, I was trying to get it up or germinated before this cool spell came. I was cutting it a little close there. We don't have any sprouts that I can see so far, but I'm expecting them any day now. Hopefully it was warm enough those few days to trigger the germination, and they'll still get up and going. But I added a little extra water there, the overhead sprinkler, to try to speed that process up. In this little plot here, we've got our arch panel trellis that we built on a previous video, and upon the suggestion of many of our great viewers and subscribers, I did raise it up off the ground about 1 foot or so. That gives me a little more room to walk around in there, considering those beans and plant foliage are probably going to hang down a little bit. So I got it looking a little better than it was the first time. I might have to replant a few beans. What's strange is I got pretty good germination on this side here, as you can see. But on this side here, I got a few gaps in there. So I might need to come stick a few more seeds in those gaps there. Not really sure what happened, because they kind of receive the same amount of water, those on that far side versus those on this near side. So not really sure what happened. And my only guess is this plot here receives a good bit of runoff from that barn right there, and this particular area here receives a good bit of runoff, and maybe some of them got washed away. I don't know, but might have to replant a few right there. Not a big deal, still plenty of time to do that. Let's walk over here to our nightshade plot, where we got a row of peppers in, a row of indeterminate tomatoes, and a row of determinate tomatoes. These guys have been responding well to some nutrients I've been feeding them through this drip system. Got our peppers looking nice and green and happy there. These determinate tomatoes we planted, shoot, not even a week ago, are starting to grow. We can see those there. Those were tiny little plugs we put in the ground. And then our indeterminate tomatoes are looking real good. We pruned some of those bottom leaves on a previous video, and man, these things are growing fast, looking really, really good. And if it only gets down to 36, we should be fine. Let's just hope it doesn't freeze. So we got all those guys. Got some blooms on these grape tomato varieties there, and I'll be pulling some soil or hilling those guys pretty soon. Now this plot here, we just kind of got a hodgepodge of things, and if the soil looks wet there, it's because it is. I accidentally left my drip on one night, fell asleep and forgot to go turn it off, so got a little bit of saturation there, but should dry out. We got our English peas planted here. We actually got two rows, one over there, one right here, and these things came up well. Got good germination on these Mr. Big peas. Got our Hortonova trellis ran there, so they can grab that pretty soon. They're already starting to put out some tendrils, as we see there, so hopefully they take to that trellis pretty quick, start climbing up there. And if it can stay relatively moderate as far as the temperatures go, we'll probably get some harvest on these. If it just strikes real hot all of a sudden, they might not like it. So we'll just have to see with this, keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully we do get some harvest from those Mr. Big peas there. Right on the other side of here, our Blue Ridge kale, still doing really well, needs to be harvested again. We've already harvested this 4 or 5 times or more since planting it back in the fall. It's hanging in there. This variety seems to be very, very bolt resistant and very, very productive. So that has been a winner for us. Nothing right here is where we pulled up our collards and lacinato kale that have been bolted. I really haven't figured out what I'm going to put in here yet, so that's just been kind of chilling right there. Our spinach, which I'm pretty sure I planted too densely, is starting to make some harvestable leaves there, but I think I just planted too thick. So I don't know if anything will happen with this or not, but we're just going to leave it there and see. And then over here, these beets we planted, seems like ages ago, are finally starting to look really, really good. They've enjoyed some of the warmer weather we've been having, and they've taken off, and really happy with how those guys are looking. You always want to see nice big green leaves there. That usually means you'll have a pretty good sized beet down there in the soil below it. And then here we've got our tater plot, which is looking mighty fine in my opinion. We've got Red Norlands, Viking, Kennebec, French Fingerling, Yukon Gold, German Butterball. There may be one more variety I can't remember, but 7 or so different varieties in here. Those have all came up nice full rows, looking good, and these guys are ready to heal. So we'll be throwing some soil to these guys probably in the next video, using our wheel hoe and mounding those guys up a little bit. Really, really happy with how my potatoes are looking. We didn't put drip on these. I usually don't put drip on potatoes. We've just been feeding them with that tripod sprinkler over there, just giving them a little splash here and there when it gets hot. I don't like to keep it too wet, especially the soil. Just kind of cool off those leaves every now and then. But man, super happy with our potato plot so far. Our allium plot is still kicking along. Some of these onions are getting ready to fall over. Some of them are bolting on me. It just happens sometimes when you get crazy temperature swings, things like that. But made some pretty decent sized onions there, close to softball size with these plethora onions here, which were planted first and should be ready to harvest first. And then some of these other varieties might be a little bit later because we plant them later. Some of those are bolting as well. Nothing you can really do about that. Just, you know, we just kind of let them do their thing, let them flower out. If they want to flower out, we'll pull them all eventually. These sweet agent onions here, I think it's my favorite variety so far. These things have made some nice big onions there, and this was one of the varieties that was planted later. It looks like that guy right there may be ready to harvest. It's already fell over, and that's a pretty good looking size onion right there. I need to get in here and clean this up a little bit, kind of let it get away from me as far as the weeds go. Stella, get out of there. Look at Stella's in there trying to ruin my garlic. Get out of there. Anyway, my elephant garlic's looking pretty good too. Nice thick stalks on that. So I think we're gonna have some pretty big cloves or bowls of elephant garlic there. Leeks are looking real good. Might could harvest some leeks pretty soon. Those are getting to look like they're at least big around as a quarter at the base. Usually like to harvest them somewhere between $1 and $1/2 size. So might be time to just grab a few leeks. We won't harvest them all at one time. We can just get a few as we need them there until we get the whole row. This plot here where our flowers and herbs are going doesn't have anything in it. It just needs one light cultivation before we lay some drip tape and plant. The tarp did a good job of really reducing my weed pressure there. Over here where our watermelons are going to go, got some weeds and stuff popping up there. Need to kind of lightly cultivate that one more time before we plant those watermelons after this cold spell comes. And then over here, which is, I don't really consider a plot, but here, we did a video on this last year, I think, or year before last when we planted these. These are our Arkansas Prime Freedom thornless blackberries, and a lot of people have been wanting to know how they're doing, and they've been doing pretty good. I came in here and put a fresh application of wheat straw around these guys. You can see they're blooming there, looking all pretty. And I have heavily pruned these guys, not in the last month, but all throughout the summer and winter, because I didn't want to trellis them. And supposedly this variety, you can just heavily prune them and make them kind of be a bush like that, and you don't have to put a trellis up for them. Now they will run like crazy if you let them, and so you could trellis them, but I kind of want to keep them small. So I've been coming in here and cutting them back pretty regularly. And now we'll just let them grow out while they're producing, and I'll cut them back again once they're done producing. But really happy with this variety so far. We had a few blackberries on it last year. We expect to get a lot more this year, especially with all those flowers we see there. And then lastly, we've got our no-till experimental plot. So I just went and got 4.5 tons, $90 worth of this cotton gin compost, good old black gold stuff here. And I tried to dump it with the truck as best I can so I don't have to throw it too far. But I got to get out here and spread this out. Still got some spinach growing over here. Probably some harvestable spinach. It's greened up pretty good. Maybe a weed or two in there. But I can probably grab some of that at this point. And then our beets here, which Abram planted, mighty thick I might add, are starting to green up and look good. They're slowly catching up to those traditionally grown beets over there. I don't know if they'll catch up to them, but they have taken a bit of a surge here in the last few days. They were all looking like that right there for a while. Well, they kind of popped in the last few days, which is good to see. I imagine they'll all be kind of small because they're planted so thick, but at least Abram will be excited to come out here and harvest some of them. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you probably know the story with this plot, but if you're new to the channel, what we're doing here is an experimental no-till plot. Now, the other plots we have, we don't till very often, just once or twice a year. But this plot, we're not gonna till at all for the foreseeable future. It hasn't been tilled since last summer, I would say, when we planted a cover crop of iron clay peas there. So going on about 8 months or so without any tillage, and we've just been layering compost on top of this. So we put a big layer on it in the fall. We grew some cabbages out there, some broccoli and cauliflower that were just they were okay. It wasn't a complete loss, but they weren't as big as we normally grow them. And now we're going to put another load of compost on here before we plant some winter squash here. And what we're trying to determine here is, can the natural biology of the soil provide all the nutrients that the plants need without having to add a whole lot of extra fertilizer? That's what a lot of the no-till proponents that comment on our videos and stuff had told me in the past, was that if you go no-till, you get all this natural biology working and you don't really have to feed it a lot of extra nutrients. So we're going to see if that can happen. We're also going to see how many years or seasons it takes that to happen. Now, the first time I grew in here, the cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower and stuff, I didn't use any additional fertilizer, and we saw what happened there. They look kind of pitiful. I am going to use some fertilizer here. I'm going to use some of our complete organic fertilizer in the furrows there, but we're not going to feed them any synthetic quick acting fertilizer. But eventually we hope to see, or if it is what everybody claims, that the natural biology of the soil can feed the plants all they need. We'll just have to see if that really happens or not. We're not mulching this because I'm not a big fan of mulch. My row spacing always changes, and I don't want to have to move mulch every time I replant. So we're just putting heavy layers of compost on here. I will have to make a little trench where I'm going to bury the drip tape for my pumpkins and winter squash. I certainly don't want to water those overhead because that creates a lot of disease issues for us down here in the south. So I will have to disturb the soil a little bit to make a furrow to bury my drip tape. But besides that, we're just using a little hand hoe, a little stirrup hoe to remove any weeds in here and trying to minimize the disturbance as much as possible. So stay tuned in the next few videos where we'll have this nice and smoothed out and even across the entire plot. And we'll be putting in our drip tape and putting in our pumpkin and winter squash transplants on this plot. And if you are a no-till gardener out there, let me know how long you think it's going to take me to see the rewards of this technique, which is definitely more time consuming, no doubt about that. But we're going to see if it's worth it. So let me know if you think it will do better than it did last fall, or you still think it's going to take several years before we really see the no-till advantages happening here. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and ring that bell so you get notified every time we come out with a new video. And make sure you check out these other 2 videos right here, ones we did in the past on this no-till experimental plot right here. I think you'll really enjoy those as well. We'll see you next time.